Hey guys, I am Pixel Dan, and today we are going to be checking out the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem Sewer Lair playset. Man, I always get so excited with every new incarnation of the Turtles because we always get a new playset. And this looks like it's continuing the tradition of being a big, really fun playset. So I'm anxious to open it up and check it out. Of course, it comes in this large box with some awesome artwork on here. And as you can see when we're looking around the box, there is a lot of features listed on it. It says it's got over 20 different features, but it's basically highlighting all of the different little action features and stuff that are scattered throughout the playset that we're definitely going to be taking a look at once we get it all put together. And I do mean once we all get it put together, because when you pull this thing out of the box, oh my God, there are so many pieces to this thing. There's also a few stickers that you're going to have to assemble as well. Not too many of them. And honestly, the stickers are like really thick, like cardstock stickers. So the quality feels really nice on these. And the instructions are pretty clear to follow. I didn't have any hard times or difficulties placing the stickers in the right spots or assembling the entire playset. It's going to take probably a good 20 minutes or longer to put the entire thing together, depending on your speed and efficiency with building playsets like this. But I didn't find myself getting frustrated too much. I was able to get it all pieced together pretty well. And once you get that all done, this right here on the table in front of me is what you end up with. Once again, Playmates Toys has put together a pretty large scale playset. Now, it is not as large as their past several sewer playsets. And by past several, I'm specifically talking about the one they did for Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, as well as the 3 variations they did during the 2012 era, one of which was based on the Michael Bay movies. I think it was Out of the Shadows, but they did 2 from the 2012 series. Those were all big, tall, massive playsets. This right here is scaled down from that, but is still pretty big. With the cardboard backing here on the playset, it stands near 27 inches tall if we go to the tallest point, which is Superfly's wing over here, and it's about 29 inches across in its current configuration that I have it right now. I say current configuration because there is a little bit of modularity going on here in a sense, and we'll talk about that more in just a bit. Overall, I really like the design of this. I feel it evokes that classic Ninja Turtle sewer playset feel quite a bit. In fact, this one, more than those others, really feels like it's essentially trying to mimic what that vintage sewer playset looked like, just at a little bit of a larger scale. And again, they are kind of making the size a little bit taller by adding this cardboard backing here. So the actual plastic playset really kind of stops here at the ground level. Obviously, we've got like this little bank looking building in the center there, but this is really kind of all padded out by this cardboard that just kind of plugs onto the notches on the back, and then you've got these nice little plastic clips that clip it into place. And I do think that's fine. I like that cardboard backer on here. It's sturdy, so that's nice. And it's got really nice artwork on there that's kind of got that childlike drawing look to it that the film did. But you'll also notice that it is scattered with mutants all over it. Superfly and several of the other mutants that we saw in the film are all over the backdrop there. And while that looks cool, seeing that awesome artwork, the awesome animation on there, that's always a little weird to me, considering you're planning to fill this out with your action figures and play with them. Like, for example, I've got Superfly, the action figure, standing over there, but he's also here in the background, looking like he's pouring mutagen down the sewer pipe. So, you know, it's kind of got that thing going on where like it ruins the visuals just a little bit by having like duplicates of your villains. But that's probably me being way too nitpicky. It's pretty cool looking. So overall, I like it quite a bit. One thing that I really want to talk about with this is the plastic quality. And this really seems to be something that has become more and more common with a lot of the modern vehicles and playsets from various toy companies. But the plastic on here is that very kind of lightweight, almost pliable plastic. So it feels almost soft. The Pizza Fire van was made with similar plastic, but I would say that even this feels a little more sturdy than some of the plastic on the sewer home. And when I'm building it, when I was putting it together, there were certain times where it really felt like it was difficult to get pieces to click together the way they should, just because that plastic felt so soft. And it gets in the way of some of the action features on here as well. So I wouldn't say that this is cheap in the sense that it's going to like fall apart or feels like it's going to like cave in on you, but it definitely has that lighter plastic feel, and I do wish it was a much more solid, much more thick plastic. And I'm sure that there are factors, probably like keeping costs down or whatever, but I don't know, like sometimes the structure just doesn't feel as solid as I would like it to. Now, as you can see, I've got action figures all over it, which is really cool because there's a lot of space for your figures to hang out. And there's a lot of cool action features that I want to start going over right now. So if we look down in the sewer itself, you'll notice that we do have this really great little like kitchen table in here. And this piece is removable. Sorry, Splinter, I know I'm knocking him over, but it's a removable little kitchen table piece. It's got this interesting like translucent green plastic around it, but it kind of plugs right on to this little spot right there in the center. It's like this round peg that it attaches to, but it very easily comes off. And you'll notice that a lot of the things on here are built so that they can kind of be spread around and put wherever you want to. So aside from the kitchen table being able to be moved and placed around, we also have a little weight bench in there, which is pretty cool. And it almost feels like there's not a lot of space inside for that, but you know, plenty of space out in front to play with that. Raphael can pump some iron if you want to. And then in the back of the playset, in the back of the sewer layer there, we also have a couple of punching bags hanging on the wall. And right next to the punching bags are these little hooks that are meant to be weapons racks. These seem to hold like Leonardo's swords pretty nicely, as well as Donatello's bow staff. The only thing I will say is they're like so far in the back of the playset and they get kind of covered up, especially by this little like railroad track that you see here for this particular configuration, which according to the box and everything seems like the main way to set it up. So kind of gets in the way of that, at least visually, but it is cool that you've got all that stuff hidden back there. Also in the back of the sewer, we have what's called the hidden entrance. It kind of looks like a big vault door that just opens up in the back. This feels very classic Ninja Turtle sewer playset as well. There's even like some plastic stairs on the back, so your figures can enter from the back of the sewer home. April's just going to take a nap now. She's just going to fall over. But we got that on the side there. One of my favorites as far as like just like great Ninja Turtles style humor is in the back, there's a porta potty. And when you open the door to the porta potty, on the inside, there's actually like a little toilet in there, which I think is hilarious that they went as far as putting the little toilet on the inside. But this also doubles as one of the action features. You'll notice we've also got this little nice sewer hole over on the side. Again, feeling very classic. So you can put your figures inside of the porta potty here. And then the porta potty also doubles as an elevator to the surface. You've got a lever on the side over here, and by lifting the lever, you actually raise the porta potty up through the sewer grate up to the surface. Now, this is one of the areas where I'm running into some weird issues that I'm kind of blaming on this softer plastic, because that porta potty doesn't seem to come all the way up level with the surface like it's supposed to, and there's a little clip on the side that like locks it in place, and the only way I can get it to do that is if I actually like lift it up myself and get it to clip into place. I can't do it just by lifting this up because the plastic kind of bows downwards, so it never gets level with the surface. It's really kind of annoying, honestly. There's a little button on the side to unlock that so that you can send it back down into the sewer. But yeah, that's one of the things where I really felt like it's probably that kind of softer plastic that's keeping it so it's just not as level as it should be, so it's not clipping into place when you bring that porta potty elevator up to surface level. All right, so the other thing that I want to point out, the other action feature that doesn't quite work the way it is intended. All the way over here to the right, we've got this extra little subway station. And on the stairwell going down on the top, there actually are some stairs sitting there. And the stairs are supposed to be drop-away stairs. By doing this, but to activate this, you press the clock that's on the front. It's a button. And pressing that clock is supposed to drop the stairs down, which would just then drop your figure down into the sewers down below. I cannot get this to work at all. It's just a small little black tab that sits under the stairs, and when you press the clock, it makes that tab go away so that the stairs drop down. But again, I'm kind of blaming it on that softer plastic because it's like it's not rigid enough and it just kind of gets hung up there. The stairs just don't drop out, and like you have to like give them a press or put some pressure on them to actually make them drop out. I don't know if it's just mine, but I have been having a hard time getting that to work the way it's supposed to just by pressing the clock. I think that's pretty much it for the features that weren't working well, because there are some other features on here that are still pretty fun. One of the things that seems like gets included in a lot of these sewer home playsets or a lot of these turtle playsets is the ability to swing like from the ladders. They have a couple ladders here that have that like swiveling feature where the ladders can kind of swing down, and one of them is right here on the back of the playset. So you'll notice there's also a platform for them to stand on. But if we take our figure and we get him to grip on, let's say to the bottom just like this. So I've got Leo up here, and then we give him a good swing, he crashes through the doors and, well, is supposed to knock over anybody that's standing in front of him. However, Bebop and Rocksteady are being stubborn right now. There we go. Leo comes crashing through. So I would honestly say that's a feature that works just well. I mean, gravity does its job. It sends the figure down. Always fun when you can get a toy to like bust through the doors there, which is pretty cool. Another feature which has been kind of common in a lot of the recent Playmates Ninja Turtles toys over these past several years is the zip line. So you do get one of these little zip line pieces, and you can see we've got the string currently hooked onto the top of the power line here, all the way down to that subway light. And that's probably just one of the ways you can do it. It's one of the ways that it shows it in the actual manual there. So we need to like set this little wheel up over the string. I'm going to grip Leo's hand on the handlebars. And this is another one that's just totally gravity based. Sometimes it works great. Sometimes he gets stopped. Yeah, there you go. He got stuck in the middle. So it really kind of depends. Sometimes I can get him to go all the way down. Sometimes not. And again, this is also one that you can totally like set those up however you want to, because this is just a little hook. See? So like, look, if I did that, obviously gravity is going to work a little bit better. It's going to make them zip downward. So just another zip line feature. Another great callback to the vintage Ninja Turtles playset is the periscope down in the sewer. You might notice that there's a great little screen down there with the handlebars that you can get any of your figures to hold on to, and that goes up to the surface, this time plugging in to a phone booth. I really love this because, first of all, a phone booth still in existence. That's hilarious. I bet any of the kids that even get this playset won't know what the heck that is. But that's kind of the charm in it because nobody's using phone booths anymore. So, of course, Donatello was able to easily turn that into a surveillance system and nobody was the wiser. You can fold up the top of the payphone and it reveals a little screen where you can see the turtles peeking up to the surface from down below. And just like on the vintage one, that rotates. So you can turn it from the bottom, rotate that little periscope to look around. Really cool feature that's been around since the original Sewer home playset. And of course, we've got ooze features. Something that I definitely want to talk about because this playset, my friends, does come with ooze. And you guys know me with slime toys. Pretty awesome stuff. So the slime that comes with this, pretty cool. And they are releasing these, obviously, in mutagen canisters as well. But it's a decent ooze that's not ultra runny, but is runny enough. Very similar to the stuff Playmates has produced in the past. Couple things that we can do with the slime with this playset. First of all, we do have this little opening hatch up here that you can see as a pipe that leads all the way down into the sewers. So if you would like to, one of the things you can do is dump your mutagen ooze in the top up here, and it will slowly run down that drain and pour out the spout into the sewer below. And I do mean slowly. This is a very slow running ooze. That is a very long drain pipe. It takes some time for that ooze to get all the way down to the bottom, and then it just kind of slowly leaks out next to your figures because it's kind of on the side of them and not above them. But still, it's a fun feature. I always love it when we can pour slime on things, so that is pretty awesome. The other thing is this Ooze Ball, which is very interesting. Now, I've been trying to figure out exactly what the purpose of this is because the instruction says to pour a little bit of ooze inside of the Ooze Ball and then use it for this rolling attack, and I didn't really understand the reason for that. But there is a little lid that you can spin and then pull off. And then if you want to put some ooze on the inside there, you can. And then you close it up. And then the ooze is just in this ball and it rolls around. What we can do with this ball, we got this little sewer lid right here that becomes a perfect little ball holder. And with our current setup, you might notice that we've got those train tracks coming from the subway coming upwards and attaching to the train tracks on the surface. If we take our poor unsuspecting villains and we stand them on the end and then we tip this train track upwards, well, for that, the ball just rolled off the front of the table. But I've got other shots where you guys can see its intended purpose. The Ooze Ball will just roll down those railroad tracks, hopefully all the way to the end, and bowl over the villains that are standing at the end of the playset. I found that it works correctly most of the time when you do it. Sometimes, obviously, it's going to roll away. It's going to go other directions. But for the most part, it does follow the tracks fine. Fun feature. I, again, don't understand the purpose of putting the slime inside the Ooze Ball because it's not like it sprays out or splashes or gets on the villains or anything. So there's really no real reason to put the ooze inside the ball other than it does look kind of cool rolling around inside there. But also I think that that's intended to be a way to like store the ooze because the box also shows them holding the slime ball to pour the ooze into this drain pipe up here. However, it's not like an airtight seal, so I would not keep your ooze inside the Ooze Ball when you're not playing with it. I would put it back in this Ziploc bag. So just throwing that out there. Otherwise, it is definitely going to dry out. Few other features that I haven't really talked about yet. Down there in the sewer, you'll notice there's a basketball hoop hanging off of it. One of the things that it calls out on the box is that it has basketball hoop action or like something like that. And I thought that was really strange. I didn't know what that meant. No basketball comes with this, which is unfortunate. I feel like there should be a ball to go with the basketball hoop. And at first I just noticed that it just kind of springs. Like when you flick it down, it flicks back up. And I was like, well, how is this supposed to work? But I realized if you've got your turtles gripping onto it like they're dunking and then you spring it, well, they flip down and they kick the bad guys down below. So I'll count it. I think that's what it's supposed to do. Also, there's chandelier action, and this is hilarious because you might have noticed that there is a little chandelier hanging up inside the sewer lair. There's a small red button right here on the top, kind of hidden inside the train tracks. And when you press that button, the little chandelier drops down. Now, it's like supposed to be chandelier crashing action, but it doesn't fall with enough force to actually do anything. It just kind of like bonks off the villains or sometimes lands perfectly on their head and gives them a cool hat. It was enough to crack me up, though. I thought it was really funny every time I did it. And there's a little crank underneath the railroad tracks there, so you can just wind it back up, and then you press that button to release it again, and it drops back down. So really fun features. Some of them are better than others, obviously. But one of the things that this does talk about on the box is that it's modular in a sense, that you can rearrange this. And honestly, I don't know exactly what that means, aside from the fact that this subway thing, as I mentioned earlier, has the ability to detach. So, for example, those subway tracks can unclip like I just showed you. And then this is a totally detached piece right here. So we can move this around however we want to. In fact, these little sewer tracks right here can also like slide inwards here if we want to. So one of the other things it shows like on the box is that if you want to, you can set it up this way. You can just kind of set it up flush like this. I think that's all it means, is that you can just move this wherever you want to. The thing that's really interesting is there are these little areas right here that look like notches that are meant to plug into something, but I've looked all around this and I don't see actual slots or peg holes that are meant for these little slots. So I don't know if I'm missing something, and if I am, please tell me. Maybe there will be future attachments. Maybe they kind of left it open-ended so that you could attach things however you want to later on down the road. But I think basically what they're saying is that these are two separate pieces. So in a sense, you can set these up however you want to. All right, guys. It's comparison time. I've talked a lot about the original Sewer Home playset and how this one feels like it's inspired quite a bit by that one, so I had to show the two side by side. Here I think you could really see the size difference between the new one and the original one, but I still feel like there's a lot about that original one that is definitely coming to life in this new playset here. You can definitely tell where they got the inspiration. Thought it'd be fun to show some of the other sewer homes as well, so just for fun I'm going to throw the 2003 era sewer home playset up here, which was a very different looking sewer home, but looking at these two side by side is very interesting. That one also had railroad tracks in it like the new one here. I talked about those larger playsets, so here it is alongside the 2012 era TMNT playset. Man, can you believe it's been that long since I reviewed that thing? It's been over 10 years, and I was blown away by that giant playset when it first came out. But you can see how this one is definitely scaled down compared to that. And even bigger to the 2012 one was the rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles playset. That thing was massive, so I wanted to show that up here as well, as I stole it from my son's room because he loves that toy. But this new one, quite a bit smaller than that. It's interesting how it's smaller than those, but still so much bigger than the vintage one. Honestly, I think this is a pretty perfect size because while I was very impressed with the giant scale of the 2012 era playsets, you always run into that problem of where to put those things eventually. I mean, your kids obviously will get bored of it at some point if they're playing with it. If you're a collector, finding space for something that big obviously poses a problem. If you look around my room here, this one feels a little more feasible. Still big, but I think a little bit more manageable. So I am totally cool with this scale. And you know, I really do enjoy this playset. Obviously, there were some action features that I felt like didn't work to their full potential. I do still feel that the plastic is a little thinner than I would like it to be, a little too soft. But aside from that, I still think it's a nice looking playset. It's definitely a great place to display your action figures if you are a collector. And I do think kids are still going to have a lot of fun playing with this. My kids are already begging to, so as soon as I'm done with this video, it's going to them so that they can enjoy it. So there you guys go. I hope you enjoyed my exhaustive look at the Mutant Mayhem Sewer Home playset. Like I said, it's really awesome to me that all these years later, we're still getting big old playsets like this for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So happy to see this hitting retail stores, which by the way, Target is where I found mine. That seems to be where most people are finding it. So happy hunting, my friends. And until next time.